Okay. I was gonna keep putting out these videos, people. I'm honestly, I'm getting kind of tired though, because you know they take a little time to. My eyes are just. Anyway, April 26th of 2025, early in the morning. Now, I didn't get much done yesterday, but I did manage to file a police report. But we already knew nothing was going to come out of it. Because I didn't catch her red-handed. That's why she was guarding the door, people. That's why she didn't want me to go, and she stopped me at the light switch between the kitchen and going into the hallway so I could go to the front door. That's why when we separated and finally I went back towards the front door, she was standing inside the door frame, guarding the door. Now, I don't know if Tisha is aware of any of this. Apparently, Paige is watching from Africa. I told my son that Tisha's not talking to me anymore because, you know, she thinks I'm lying or fabricating this or whatever. I don't know what the hell she's thinking. Oh, you always say that people are taking your stuff. I can't deal with it. I'm done. I'm not. You didn't take down the video where you were talking about, actually her name is Maria, Maria. Oh, I knew that because she's a registered board director to the foundation that I work on. So, Ria, aka Maria, they have your official name, first name, last name, and your address. And I gave them your phone number. They said they were going to call you. Don't worry, they're not going to knock on your door. No, because you weren't caught red-handed with the goods, because you were standing at my front door guarding it. If you weren't standing at my door frame between the kitchen and the hallway so that I couldn't see your doughboy going up and down the stairs picking up all the shit that you guys robbed from my house. But we know what happened, and so did the cops. And I do have a file number on you. There's my justice. Let that shit follow you. And if Tisha wants to be an idiot, right along with fucking Paige in Africa, and make excuses for you by blaming me for fabricating a stupid story, yeah, okay. So be it. Who needs friends like that? Who needs a daughter like that? I don't need that. So, anyway, I had another bad dream yesterday morning. And guess who it was about? Marina downstairs. What is it with Maria, Ria, Marina? What is it with all these Rinas? But yeah, I had a bad dream. I wouldn't consider it to be a good dream, people. I have never had a good dream in this house. Not once. Not once. And I used to have good dreams all the time. Anyway, what it was, I was looking out my window here by the kitchen sink towards the back alley, right? And I seen Andre's Lego. He had built something, you know, that little green mountain. It was large, like large, right? He had built several large toys, I guess you could say, out of Lego. And they were all stacked in a row between the driveway and the alley, among other toys, outside larger toys, like that little green mountain that Andre rescued from the bin, like that easel, that Fisher Price, quite large, right? Easel that I gave to Maria. Rhea, right? I gave to Rhea, right? Maybe she's a dual personality here. I counted the years that I've known this bitch. 8 years. 8 years she's been working me to do a smash and grab on me in my house the minute I wasn't looking, and she had an opportunity to do it. She was willing to wait 8 years to do this. Now I know why she kept phoning me up and asking to babysit her kids, because she was worming her way in anyway. Anyway, I'm looking out the window and I see a child's easel, a little play mountain like the one out in the back, those kind of things. Larger Fisher Price tiny type toys, but within those toys was things that Andre had made with Lego that were almost in comparison in size. So in other words, it wasn't a little Lego toy truck that he made with Lego. It was a big one. And somebody from downstairs had placed them outside at the edge of the driveway. This is the driveway, edge of the driveway, and this is the alley. They had them right on the edge in a row. And that's how I could identify the Fisher Price tiny type toys in comparison to the Lego that Andre had made into toys. You know, so like maybe he made a skyscraper, because I remember one was really tall and kind of thin with, you know, it was like a building of sorts, right? You know, it had a building and then another tall tower, but it was big, and it was all made out of Lego. And there was like 4 or 5 of them, different kinds, he had made. And then the other tiny type Fisher Price toys as well, right? And I'm like, holy crumb, somebody's trying to chuck them out. They're putting them on the curb to get rid of them. No, that ain't happening. Those are Andre's toys. I wasn't concerned about the Fisher Price and the tiny type toys. I was concerned about Andre's toys, the ones that he had made. I wanted to preserve them. I wanted to keep them. I wanted to rescue them before they disappeared. So I go out. I have to go out through the front because it's too hard to get through the back, through this sliding door that, whatever. So I go out through the front. I go around the side of the house. I get to the point where I can now see that they've disappeared. They're gone. And all that's left is a little pile of the Fisher Price tiny type toys. But everything that Andre made was gone. I got livid because I knew how that happened and who did it, basically. It wasn't my son. It was Marina downstairs who put the toys out to give them away behind Andre's and my back. So, versus going to the basement door and knocking and being polite and asking to come in and talk to her, I just walked in. I mean, it is my house, people. Now, if I would have been able to go into the basement with ease from time to time to get to my food prep or whatever it is that's down there, right? I don't know. Maybe I wouldn't have been so vulnerable to theft from Rhea. Because I don't blame my son and his wife for what happened. But with them isolating me upstairs and preventing me from navigating through my house as they were throwing out my shit. And it all started after Marina moved in. I didn't have that problem until Marina moved in. And it just, I don't know. It's put a big wedge into the family dynamics where Andre and I don't feel comfortable in our own house, even though time has passed. And I don't want to say we're trying to forgive Marina, but we're hoping that she's calmed down and she's adjusted. Same thing with Marcane, where they're not going to be throwing her stuff out, whether it's Andre's stuff or my stuff. They may not see it as Andre's stuff, but if it belongs to me and it's something that I would like Andre to have an opportunity to use or, have or whatever, it becomes his, right? They don't see it like that. I don't know. They treated me the way Rhea treated me. They just took what they wanted, did what they wanted with it, and yada-de-yada. Same thing with Mrs. Gill. She just took what she wanted, did what she wanted with it, yada-de-yada. And so, of course, Andre and I, we're feeling really insecure. And we have been for years. Because we don't know what's going to go missing, when it's going to go missing, how it's going to be going missing, how we're going to be treated as it's going missing. We just don't know. And the only thing that we talk about is, well, hopefully it stopped. Hopefully it won't happen anymore. And even when my son says, oh, I stopped doing that, it's still happening to one degree or another. And it gets to the extreme, right? Because, don't blame me, blame Mrs. Gill, blame the city of Surrey. I'm only doing what they told me to do. Everybody's got excuses. Mrs. Gill, oh, it's the city's fault. But she's the one coming around here saying getting rid of everything, including the fucking table in the back. Right? You know what I'm saying? There's nothing left to get rid of. What part of that don't you understand? Very little. And what little is left, you still expect me to get rid of it and plant seeds like fuck. As I've got some maniac in my house, worse than a tweaker, robbing me on the inside. We're at $5,000 now, people. And I'm not done going through my room. I haven't even gotten into the playroom. I'm going to get into the playroom and take a quick fucking look in there. She didn't do this by herself. She didn't. I showed you in the last video how she stuck her hand there in the hall. Notice that, oh, there's boxes. Let's see. Oh, pulled out. Oh, stamps. Well, let's just take the whole fucking thing and empty out the other half of the box. She won't notice. No, I noticed real fucking quick now, didn't I? But what can the cops do? Did you see her stick her hat in there and steal your stamps, Miss Shorney? No. Did you see Marina downstairs put the toys outside, including the ones that Andre... This is my dream now, right? Even the one Andre made with Lego? No, I didn't see her do it, but she's the only one downstairs that would do such a thing. So yeah, I go around... I'm going to rescue Andre's Lego. I'm not too concerned about the Fisher-Price and the Tiny Tykes. I wanted to save the ones that Andre built with his own hands. Even though they were large and bulky, I still wanted to save them. So that he had pride in them. And he could cherish them. And he could decide what he was going to do with them. I get out there and they're fucking gone. Oh. And just the Tiny Tykes and the Fisher-Price are just there. I said, to hell with this shit. I'm finally fucking done, man. I can't stand this shit. So I go into the basement. I just walk in. I go inside. And what do I see? I see her mother, of all people, sitting at a sewing machine, sewing, with Marina right beside her, and they're they're like chatty, all happy while mom's sewing, and Marina's right there just, doing whatever she's doing. Like, they're real close together. Mom's right in front of the fucking sewing machine, right? I can see the sewing machine. I can see the mom. Marina's right there, and they're all comfy, cozy, happy as can be, and in love with each other because they're mother and daughter, and they've got this really good fucking relationship. And I'm like, what the hell's going on out there? Oh, what are you coming in here for with your muddy shoes on? Why are you coming in here with your muddy shoes on? That's all she had to say. And I like, what? I woke myself up fucking hollering. There goes my heart again. Why? Is it because I'm feeling insecure and that's all I have left to depend on? Well, we're upstairs, Andre and I, trying to convince ourselves that she'll respect us because he likes her. He's told me that. And I said, I know, Andre. And then I say, well, all I can say, Andre, is I hope she's calmed down. She's not going to do stupid shit no more. So that he doesn't have to feel insecure with anything when it relates to that stupid situation that kind of seems to be ongoing to one degree or another. Why you coming here with mud on your shoes? I said, what the hell is that shit out there? And because I hollered, I woke myself up. That's a bad dream, people. That's the shit that's going to give me a heart attack in my sleep. And people who like to take things away from you, a lot of it just has to do with control. One way or another, they're trying to control you. Right? As well as elevate their self-esteem and their egos, to empower themselves to have control in their own lives. Right? Putting Andre's play toys that he built with Lego, with love, and really made an effort out on the curb behind his back and my back to give him away or to have somebody pick him up because she sold him, who knows what she just put him out there. And she didn't care how I felt. For sure, we know that. But it also trickled down into Andre as she's up in his face. And he's falling for the old okie dokie because he's got nothing and nobody around him that truly will just let him, I don't know, be himself or something. Every fucking 6 months, Tisha, I'm not talking to you. I'm not, you're this, you. And now she's using a fucking thief as an excuse to fucking never talk to me again. Where does that put Andre in that fray? In the middle? She can use him as a tool to take him to a birthday party. Even though she's not allowing me to see Alea May and Kyrie, and she's not talking to me no more. And if I say, okay, if that's the case, Andre, just fucking leave him alone. Just don't bother. You're not going to no birthday parties because you damn well know fucking Rhea's going to show up with her kids. And Kaden might come and fucking hit you again. But it doesn't matter because it's all about... it's all about what Tisha wants. Because if I don't let him go to the birthday party, then all of a sudden I'm isolating him. And then she starts making threats on me on that. But yet she's exposing him to a fucking smash and grab thief. Because she's in denial of what her fucking friend did. And we're not just talking a few $100s here, people. We're talking $5,000 and still counting. And I'm supposed to let Andre go to Tisha's, Alea May's birthday party, knowing that Rhea's going to show up with her kids. As I'm telling Andre, you don't ever have to be around that woman again. You don't ever have to be around that fucking, those kids, the mother, nothing. It's hard to separate from a family member. It's hard to separate yourself from your uncle who treats you bad and takes your stuff and throws it out and calls you names or whatever when we were going through that shit. It's especially when you live in the same house because you're codependent on each other, right? It's hard to separate from your aunt and your cousins when she's on her freaking tangent with her demands and threats and all this other stuff because she's not getting her way and she wants to be in control. As she's accusing me of using Andre as a tool by not allowing him to do something, but yet she's using him as a tool to do something so that she can give Caden a friend to play with at a freaking birthday party, for crying out loud. Because that kid has no friends. Well, why does he have to go? He doesn't want, well, but Caden has no friends. Well, that's not our problem. And I don't know, last time I checked, that bitch, she stole over $5,000 worth of my shit. And you think it's a joke? But yet you expect Andre to go to a birthday party so that bitch can come up to him and say something? Oh, your mother's crazy, or your nana's crazy. I didn't steal nothing. No, he needs to learn to separate from people like that. Especially if, right? It's even when Marcane was doing what he was doing, I said, that's it. Just don't go downstairs. Next thing you know it, Marcane's at the fucking window accusing me of isolating Andre and not letting him go downstairs. And I'm like, well, what the hell? Have you looked at what you've been doing lately? You're throwing out my shit. You're disrespecting me. You're selling my fucking shit. You're ruining my shit. You piled up so much fucking shit up there that you got the fucking city called on me. With Mrs. Gill now running around taking everything from the yard because of that one-ass big fucking pile in the back that didn't move for over a year and a half. Well, everybody's not helping me knowing that I'm fucking blind, but that's okay because being blind gives them the opportunity to hurt me and to take advantage of me and to take advantage of my shit. And that's what my landlord did. She knew I had no way to get that crap out of there. She had plenty of time to fucking help me to get a small bin, have my son, right? I asked her 2 years to have her fucking son come and help me with the fences. Now the fences are all fucking busted down, right? And we could have dealt with that fucking shit when he showed up and we would have ran the fucking final. If there would have been anything left, I'd be, okay, I don't want this. See that, can you help me get a bin? Can you help me get a bin? But no. They left that fucking shit out there for a fucking year and a half as they're downstairs piling more shit in there. My son busted up all the fucking, what do you call those things? Wall units in the garage that had sat there 14 fucking years, piling up more shit as I'm blind as a bat, running, busting up the fucking boards, trying to get rid of them, throwing them into the as best as I can because I knew the shit was going to hit the fan. And sure enough, it hit in the middle of fucking winter with my landlord running around now saying get rid of everything. And 4 months later, she's still telling us to get rid of water drums, tables. Well, one table. You're not even allowed one table in your backyard. And she wants the water drums gone. Well, that's just great, because if the shit shuts down and there's no water, I bet you she's got fucking water on where she lives, right? In her nice little Punjabi community. She's got water drums. People got her fucking back, but not out in this neighborhood. She made sure we didn't have water, but she's got water. She didn't help me with landscaping, but in 2017, what did she do? She had me running around out in the fucking yard, planting extra food, busting up the ground, making garden beds for her, because she had landscaping problems and she couldn't plant, even though I had landscaping problems and she didn't help me to fucking not deal with not one of them people. She had 2 whips on my back. And even then, by October, somebody, we know who, called the city on me because they had to build a fucking case. Even though I had been working in the yard since March like a damn dog with the videos to prove it. Planting gardens for my landlord. And I just didn't plant a garden. I made garden beds. I had to dig up the fucking dirt for that shit. because she had landscaping problems. Well, I was working on landscaping problems in this yard at that time. From the moment I moved into this house. That's what I mean. And then come back fucking 2017, and then come back in 2025 and take everything away from me. $5 fucking grand. I put it at $5,500 fucking. So, you know, between Maria, and my landlord, that's like $10,500 fucking dollars gone, less than 2 months. And for what? And now I'm dreaming about my grandson's toys that he built with his own hands and takes pride in being put out in the fucking road as I've got 2 women downstairs conspiring against us. Because if she wasn't, those toys wouldn't be out there. They wouldn't have fucking disappeared because they were put on fucking line. And somebody came and took what they wanted and left behind what they didn't, but the rest were out there for a free-for-all as well. So they would have eventually disappeared. And all she cared about was mud on my fucking feet. As if I'm the problem. Tisha, you're the problem. You're always saying people are taking your shit. Yeah, they are. They have no self-respect. They have no fucking morals. They have no fucking ethics. Clearly they're not spiritual in regards to, you know, I don't want to say that the Bible trumps all, but there are some certain rules to life where you don't steal from people. You know, you're supposed to respect your parents. Oh, well, yeah, but she was, though. She was giggling away with her mom fucking sewing. So as long as she respected her parent, that's all that mattered. Not me, though. Not Andre. So yeah, it was a fucking nightmare. Why? Why, people? Why? Because, you know why, I think? Maybe? Because I'm feeling insecure. The one little tiny of hope that I had to escape this house and build a better place where you could be happy and you could trust the environment and you could feel safe in the environment was with Rhea. Okay? There was a flicker of fucking hope to escape this nightmare shit that I live in. And what did Rhea do? Oh, God. She took it to a whole new freaking level. But she didn't act any more different than my landlord. And she sure in the hell doesn't act any more different than what my son and Marina did. And the only thing, like I said, Andre and I can do is just pray. We don't even pray. We just hope. We just hope. We try and convince ourselves that they've calmed down downstairs and whatever adjustments that they had to make, they're over with. And they would never do what they did to us because they didn't do it just to me. They did it to him too. Okay? They won't do it again. But my dream is telling me otherwise. You see, that's the problem. That's the problem with these fucking dreams. They provide a way for me to see what's coming. I can't stop it. I seen Shmay dead. I couldn't stop it. But it prepared me. So I wouldn't lose it. Cuckoo. And I learned the truth by looking for it. And I exposed the fact that she was illegally harvested with her organs. And I brought proof through exposure with the pictures. I even filed a fucking lawsuit so it could be on file. So there was a record of it. As if it changed anything. Just like with Rhea and her bullshit, let's go do a smash and grab at Judy's house. Yeah. And walk off with 5,000. By the time I'm done, I'll probably have it at fucking 6,000. I'm afraid to get to the $10,000 mark, but it might go as high as that because we are dealing with professionals who have done this shit before. And if Tisha wants to be in freaking denial with that and consider Rhea to be a good fucking friend because Tisha herself doesn't want to help me and wants to pawn off her sick mom, well, I'm not really sick yet, but her blind mom, her worn out mom, on Marcane because Tisha just wants to live her freaking life. Well, so be it. But she's still going to try and use Andre as a tool to, I don't know, convince herself that she's a good fucking aunt because she took him to a fucking birthday party where a bunch of fucking thieves are running around. Yeah, okay. That's a great fucking role model. If you condone thieving, you hang out with a thief. Like I said, it's different when you're codependent and you're living in the same fucking house and you can't escape and move away from them and you can't kick them out and get rid of them. You're kind of stuck with them. So you have to learn to somehow coexist. That's why they call it coexisting. With a level of fucking boundaries where I guess I just don't go downstairs since October. I think it was October. I'd have to go into my videos. When was the last time I was downstairs in the basement? I think October, maybe September. We'll take it from September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. I haven't been downstairs into the basement, not even for 2 seconds, for 8 fucking months. Why are we not surprised that my shit didn't get fucking robbed up here like this? As I'm being forced out of my house from a landlord that just wants fucking money or is on a power trip, for both reasons. I'm always hanging on that mountain. She's lording over me. That will never change. That's what that fucking video, that dream told me. Because it's the attitude. That's what money brings. It changes people. The more money you have, the more you change. And you become something else that isn't necessarily what you were when you started off as a humble person. Okay? There's not too many humble people who have lots of money. The more money you get, the less humble you become. The more ruthless you become. The more selfish you become. The more conniving and plotting and scheming how to get more money changes your personality, and then it just becomes you, where you're the Lord. I guess Rhea was lording over me when she rooted my fucking bedroom, but I am kind of annoyed with my son because if he would have allowed me to do what I needed to do downstairs, but you see, it's just sitting there and it's getting on their fucking nerves, and being that it's getting on their nerves, that gives them the reason to go off and put more shit out on the fucking road, even if it means it's Andre shit. I had that problem then, and I still have this problem. Hasn't gone away. Andre, I know you like Marina. I'm not trying to not have you not like her. I want you to like her. You don't have that many people left in your life. Why wouldn't I? But I'm up against negative forces that are wanting to be in control. And the first place they want to be in control with is by overtaking my life, which puts my life in jeopardy. Because the more they want to take from me, the more they want me fucking dead. Because once I'm dead, then there's nothing stopping them. There's no interference. There's no hurdles. There's no barriers. They can just do the free-for-all. And then they get the satisfaction that they got what they wanted, without realizing that they pushed me to an early grave. Yeah, that's right. It's stupid. Like, why am I dreaming about her? Is it because I have no escape? The little escape that I had with Rhea, maybe, moving out, starting fresh, building an environment for Amari where it was right? You know what I'm saying? That's gone. Starting a little business with the leftover fabrics that I have. That's gone. So what am I left with? Those two downstairs. Because Tisha wants to side with a thief. And she's just not your standard everyday thief. She's your smash and grab fucking kind of thief. I guess Tisha has to see it for herself. Watch Rhea actually do it before she believes that her friend is that way. Because she won't believe her mom. Yeah. And it's not that she won't. She just doesn't want the responsibility of her mom. Because her mom is going to be codependent to somebody. And I don't got too many choices left. I've only got one. But the one that I've got has a situation where nothing is safe. You just look out your fucking window and there goes more shit out the door. And when you go to ask somebody why, they don't care about what's out on the fucking road. They just say that, get out of my house, you got mud on your feet. First of all, it's my house. It's always been my house. I know you want my house. I know you want to take over everything. Think everything belongs to you for whatever strange reason, and you can do what you want with it. Right? Like, where does the mud on the feet come in? What does that represent? Right? You're trash, you're garbage, you're mud, you're a hobo, you're a bum, you're the problem, you're useless. Is it mud? It represents something like that. It's more of a negative connotation, right? You know what I mean? You got, get out of here, you got mud on your feet. She didn't care what I was thinking. She didn't care what I was there for. She just didn't want me there because I had mud on my feet as she was giggling with her mom at a sewing machine, of all things yet. Yeah, okay. I'd be better off to sell that fucking sequins in that fucking trunk for what it's worth. Because if that's the case, nothing's changed. So whatever I'm feeding Andre is just a big fat fucking lie. And why would I want to lead him down the garden path? Oh, don't worry, they've calmed down. Everything is fine. You can feel safe. I can feel safe. We can be a happy family. You know, we can trust each other. We can love each other. We can build on the future. You know, that's what families do. But is that really true? Considering what my subconscious mind is telling me? Because that's my subconscious mind. The only reason we've been talking about Marina around here is because Andre wants a level of peace. He wants to feel safe and loved. You know, like I said, I said maybe cook down there once a week. So he's interacting with her more. He told her. And she said something. He came up and told me, and I reinforced it with a good messaging saying, great, I'm happy for you. I'm happy that she's happy for that. Willing to work with you on that. Right? You know what I mean? I'm glad you like her. Because I said, you like her, right, Andre? He goes, yeah. I said, oh, I'm glad. Because he's going to go downstairs and cook. Why would I want to send him downstairs with somebody that he doesn't like? I wouldn't. So I asked him, do you like her? He said, yes. I said, okay, good. Do a good job when you're down there. When you're cooking, don't scatter things around. You know? I'm trying to nurture something positive, but it's not fucking, I don't know, people. I'm fooling myself. Literally, I'm fooling myself. My son came up here. He's all yada-da-yah because I guess Marina heard I guess Marina heard Amari singing. He was probably singing. Or he likes to talk loud sometimes. Only he doesn't talk with words. He talks with sounds, right? And when Andre plays music and stuff, Amari will sing with the music. Well, anyway, Marina heard something. And she got, that heart of steel going. she thought that maybe he was, what do you call it? Something wrong. So Andre went downstairs, a few days later or whatever it was. And, hold on a minute. So I'm talking about Amari here, right? So she hears something, right? He's making sounds. And he carrying on with it. Right? You know what I mean? And I guess, because we don't have a functioning relationship here, she was, I don't know. She didn't come upstairs to see if anything was going on. She just got nervous with that heart of steel. Right? So Andre goes downstairs at some point or another, and she asked him about it. If everything was okay with Amari. He goes, why? He says, she knows, oh, well, I heard, and blah, 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 blah. And he goes, yeah, that was Amari singing. I was playing music, and when I play music, Amari will start to sing. Okay, so my son came up here. And also, too, like, sometimes, he will cry, right? If he's, like, got a poo or something, and he's, like he's, we think he pooed, I don't know, Andre changed him, I was kind of sleeping there, so I heard him say something about poop, because for the last day, he's been starting to get fussy, right? Because he's got a poo, and sometimes it can be, it's been much better than it's ever been compared to when he was on those supplemental drinks, but every now and then, right, but there's only certain kind of sounds that he basically has, and sometimes he can get real loud, and it's like a form of singing. I don't know how to, right? He's singing, right? Or whatever, right? Or he's just being, like, if Marcaine comes in and I'm in the living room and Marcaine's standing there and Amari's on the couch and Marcaine starts talking, oh my God. Amari tries to overtalk him and he just gets real chatty, and then Marcaine has to raise his voice and try and overtalk Amari to the point where Marcaine tells Amari to be quiet because, Amari likes Marcaine. And I guess he's looking for attention or something, I don't know. But, and so I guess she asked if Amari was okay if something had happened. He goes, no, I was playing music, and if that's what you're thinking on that day or whatever day, he just, right, he was singing. All right, so he comes upstairs and he tells me, right? Okay, well, I understand. I could understand why she would think that, because, she doesn't spend no time with him. She doesn't know his sounds, right? Right? So, okay. And another day goes by, I guess, yesterday. My son comes upstairs. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I got something for you since you're up here. I'll give it to you if you don't mind, right? I think you should have it, right? I'm talking about that box of corned beef. And I'm like, okay, well, what's up? Why did you come upstairs? Because he doesn't come up very often. Is everything okay up here? I'm like, well, what do you mean? He goes, oh, something about Amari. And I said, yeah, no, I heard about that, I guess Marina was concerned about Amari with sounds, right? And since you're here, and we've, also too, he made a day for Andre to cook, like an open schedule, right? Where if something happened, because you never know, anything could happen around here, and, he can't go because of whatever, right, in terms of a time schedule. But for the most part, it's his day is to cook on this day, just because it's a day where, right, it's just better to get a schedule. So he's like this day for Andre to make plans to cook once a week to start. And I said, somebody's going to be there to supervise him, though, right? Because, we need to establish good habits, not cross-contaminate, throw garbage in the garbage, wipe, clean up as you go. That's the whole point of the exercise, because it's too complicated up here, right, at this point. And he likes to throw things, and just be really sloppy about things, and, so whatever. And I said, yeah, that's good. And then, on about Mari, I said, well, I was thinking about that after Andre, because he said, well, how do you know? And I said, well, Andre told me. But now that you're up here, I was thinking, for Marina's sake, not for our sake upstairs, but for Marina's sake, maybe if when Andre goes downstairs and cooks, maybe Amari can go downstairs for an hour or two, so that Marina can start distinguishing his sounds, right? Learn his sounds when he's talking. Learn his sounds when he's singing. Learn his sounds when he's in distress. Because sometimes he'll get caught up in something, right? Like there's different levels of distress. If he's uncomfortable, because he can't, if he's laying on something and it's poking on him because there's a toy on the, like Leia May and Kyrie come over and they throw a toy on the couch and it might, have edges like a little block or something like that. And it's underneath Amari and it's poking into his back. He can't sit up and take it out and throw it away. He'll just, right? If he pulls a blanket on himself and gets caught up and he can't breathe, then it's different levels of stress. You have to hear them in order to be able to respond to them. And so, because she doesn't spend no time with him, she wouldn't know really any sound and what it would represent when it comes to Amari. Right? All she hears is what goes on through the two suites. So if he's being extremely overzealous and happy, loud and obnoxious and boisterous, she may determine that as being under distress, when in fact he's being creative and he's singing at the top of his lungs, which wouldn't sound like singing to us, but it would be if you knew what he was doing because you're around him all the time. And that's what I explained to Andre, and that's what I explained to my son, so that, if something should happen, because Andre's been going out more and stuff, and, and like the issue with Amari now is though, this is another thing. Amari is quick when he wants to be. So in other words, Andre's in the living room. Amari's on the couch. Andre leaves. And within less than 30 seconds, 30 seconds to 60 seconds, this is how fast this boy can be now. He will either flip himself over and then hang off the couch, go to grab something, and like a bag of, he likes to grab things off the floor, right? And if there's a bag of chips there that have been wrapped up or something, next thing you know, there's chips everywhere. And you only right? You know what I'm saying? Like, Andre has his computer stuff there, right? So there's cords. He leaves. He just quickly leaves. And, within a minute, 2 minutes, Amari's in the cords. And I said, no, Andre, you can't do that because, he's that, like, he does it. He waits for you to leave so that he can shimmy off the couch, fall off. There's a mat on the floor, or blanket, so it's always usually cushioned, right? And because his weight pushes him, he gets to a certain point as he's reaching to grab something, because he knows there's interesting things. He doesn't care what he grabs. He just knows that he'll find something if he keeps trying, right? And then that's a toy for him. He feels proud of himself. And then if he goes too far, though, his body makes him fall because, again, it's the weight of the body that pushes him over. And then once he's on the floor, then he starts moving around to grab even more shit. He pulls it to himself. Next thing you know, you come in, if you were only gone like not even 5 minutes, thinking that he's on the couch, all penciled in. Now Andre is taking freaking pillows and all this crap, and he's piling them up high to try and pencil them in, just so that we can have that 5 minutes without him shimming off the couch and getting into shit. 2 years ago, he didn't do that. It's a milestone now for Amari. That's why I want a big open space with a big ass fucking mattress on the floor with a whole bunch of bean bags on there. I can see what's coming with Amari. I thought maybe I had an escape and I could build that maybe with Rhea in a different kind of house. But that's not fucking happening. No, I'm stuck here with a woman downstairs having now Amari panic attacks because she doesn't understand the sounds, and because he's bigger, he's louder. 3 years ago, 2 years ago, he was smaller and he wasn't so loud. Now his voice is changing and he's getting loud. So if he's loud and you don't know the sounds, yeah, you're going to think there's something wrong. But then I also said to my son, you know, I fell asleep and I woke up. Well, no, I fell because Andre's been going out, right? And again, Amari, he falls asleep with me, but not that day. He found himself he wormed himself onto the floor, right? He lay in there throwing chips around, grabbed a few things. Andre came in and found him, and I'm sleeping. And I'm like, well, that can't happen, right? Because Amari can move now with intent, right? Normally he sleeps with me, but now we're at a new milestone. Oh, Nana's sleeping. I can get into things. Isn't that what toddlers do? When children learn that they can go off and, they wait, they sneaky, oh, mom's not looking, dad's not looking, I'm going to sneak off and go do this. Well, Amari's kind of the same way now. It took him a long while to get there mentally, but he's there. So you have to build in those safety nets. That's where the big bed comes in with the fucking bean bags. I told my son it takes 2 people to keep an eye on Amari, almost 24/7. Pretty much. If you don't have to be with him 24/7, but he's got to be penciled in, and you got to have an ear. You got to listen for the different sounds with the different levels of distress, whether it's he's uncomfortable and he can't, right? So you have to go and check and make sure that his legs are okay, that there's nothing underneath, like a toy or something that's poking on him or whatever. If it's the next level up, it could be that he's half hanging off the couch like that, and he doesn't like it because he'll let you know if he's not happy with it, right? And then, of course, you can see, right? You pick him, you put him back on because he moves, right? And And then, depending on the angle, I suppose, sometimes he doesn't like it, and that's the next level. So you hear him and you respond, oh, I can see why you're acting that way. No, here, stay there where you belong. And then, you come, you sit down, and then he's right back where you were, where he was. Only this time he's in a position where he feels comfortable so that he can slide off the couch and shimmy over there and grab something. Like, holy shit. So it's not like you can leave him alone and he's clucking in there. Did you hear that? I heard you, Amari. Yeah. What you saying with that? That's a new sound. Well, not really. But what does it mean? I don't know. He's letting me know he's awake. Right? Is that it, buddy boy? You gotta have that heart of steel, man. That's what I told my son. So maybe if Andre's downstairs cooking and everybody's around, maybe Amari can go downstairs and hang out for an hour or two. So that Marina can start to learn the sounds of his personality when he's expressing himself. So that, she's not downstairs isolated, imaginating things, right? Unless, of course, it's warranted. Then by all means come upstairs and investigate if you think that he's in distress and nobody's responding for whatever reason. That would be the responsible thing to do. But we don't have a healthy relationship, you see. That's the point. She didn't feel comfortable enough to come and ask if everything was okay. I don't know how to fix that, especially when I'm having bad freaking dreams. Outside of my son agreed to allow Amari to go downstairs and hang out with the crowd, right? And not only for socialization time, plus Amari really, really loves Marcane. That's just a given. I don't know. It's something about Marcane's voice. If Marcane picks him up, oh my God, Amari feels so safe in Marcane's arms, and he's so chatty and happy and giggly, and he's letting Marcane. But Marcane doesn't know that though. He's not interpreting the amount of love that he's getting from Amari. When he picks up Amari, he just sees it as a boisterous, disabled child that's wiggling around, right? You know what I mean? He's not like your average child, but Amari's like moving around, and because of the way his body is, you know. Okay, Amari's fine. And the camera blinked out. It only has so much hard disk drive or whatever. It's an old camera. I need to replace it. But I would only replace it with another old camera that I bought off of Facebook, for what it's worth. I like these camcords, but I don't want to spend $1,000 for a camcord. And if you get into the HDs, like the big ones, the newer recording frames and stuff, I won't be able to use this editor, right? This is an old school editor for old school cameras. I'd have to use the other one on this computer, and the files are bigger, and I don't like it. All right, it takes up more space on my external hard drives than what I'm already pumping into them. I put everything in as far as I can, do to the best of my ability into external hard drives, so that maybe one day after I'm gone, you never know, my kids might be able to copyright my channel or something and make a freaking movie on it for as much drama as I got in my life. And then at least this way, they can get royalties or something out of it, right? Yeah, you never know. I have enough videos. Besides that point, I was thinking, why did I dream of two women conspiring against me, thinking it was funny, as they're putting my grandson's toys outside that he built and took great pride in, to get rid of them? Why? Why? Two women. Because... And the mother was taking the lead by sitting in front of the sewing machine. Right? She was in charge. That's why when I ran into her out in the back when my shit was being loaded up in her fucking vehicle because of what my landlord was doing, and I wanted to talk to her. I thought that perhaps she could help me to get things, where everybody could live in peace and feel safe, not just some people feel safe, right? You know what I mean? I mean, it is my house. I should be allowed to feel safe in my own house. I should be allowed to be able to move freely, basically, within reason when it comes to the downstairs in my own house. But when you don't go downstairs for 8 months because you're trying to avoid conflict, or you're afraid of being accused of something, you're the problem, or whatever the fuck it is, I mean, that's not quality living. You can't blame me for doing outreach with Rhea. Hell, I was babysitting her kids every 2 weeks, 2 times a month. It was like clockwork. It was getting hard, and I wanted to say no, but she always crying the card, I have nobody to help me, you're the only one, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, right. Well, it was all just so that you could worm your way in here and fucking stab me in my back, rob me bloody blind. And for what? Well, I'm sure Tisha will introduce you to somebody else that you can mooch up on, get them to feel sorry for you, get them to do things for you, and you can plot and scheme for how many years you'd like to do the same damn thing to them that you did to me. Like, I'm starting to think a whole lot of women are just messed up in their heads. Like, seriously. If you notice, it's the women that are causing most of the problem. Yep. It's not my landlord, it's my landlady. It's not so much my son as it is his wife. It sure to hell was Rhea, who is a female. All females. Anyway. Okay, so I'm going to end this video. So Amari's going to go downstairs when Andre cooks, so I'm really happy for Amari, because that gives him social time with his Uncle Marcaine, who he really, really loves. And I think when Marcaine spends some time with him, I think Marcaine will come to the realization as to how much Amari really does love him, right? Because, you know, he'll establish a better relationship with him just by being around him more. And that will be good for both of them, really. You know. Amari is not your typical human being. He doesn't come to you because he wants something from you. He comes to you because he loves you and he loves to be around you and he likes to show you that he loves you. It's not his fault that he can't move himself, change himself, feed himself. You know, he didn't ask for that. So, you know, but he's well aware that he's dependent on somebody to do things for him. Trust me, he knows. Okay? And, but he doesn't expect you to do it because, you know, when you meet people, they always want something from you. Do they want your love first before anything else? No. They want your money. They want your, you know, if you're a woman and a woman comes into your life, she wants your man, right? You know what I'm saying? Or even men for that matter, you know, a man, he has a friend, the friend comes into his life and he wants to screw the wife, right? You know, he's trying to make passes at the wife, right? He wants something. He doesn't want the love of his friend. He wants the wife, right? What else? You know, they want your money. They want to borrow money on you. They don't love you. They don't come to see you because they love you. They come to see you because they want to borrow money. Or they want you to watch their kids. Or they want you to fix their car. Or they want you to freaking get up on the roof and put on a new roof for them at a cheap cost because you're a friend and you're a roofer and you can do it for them. It's not because they love you. They just want a cheap deal because you're a roofer and they need a roof. Amari, he comes to you with love. Straight up love. Unless, of course, he doesn't like you. And if he doesn't like you, or he doesn't like what you're doing to him, he will let you know, and he'll even swat out at you. If I take him to the Child Development Center, and they're putting making a cast on his leg, for example, on his, like, whatever, right? He doesn't like that. He squawks, and then he swats. Right? If they try and lay him on a table so they can do all the things that they want to do, you know, blah, 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 he swats. He'll even chew them out. I'm just saying. So, but he doesn't come to you and say, feed me. He'll let you know if he's hungry by squawking for it now because he likes his food. But, you know, it's not because he wants you to feed him. It's because there's no other way. Right? You know what I'm saying? Where a friend will come by and they'll expect you to feed them just because. But yet they're capable of feeding themselves. Amari's not capable. In other words, the friend can go off and buy their own food, cook it, feed themselves. Amari's not like that, right? He waits for food. If you don't give him, he starves, right? So that's you can't even factor that in terms of what Amari wants from you because there's just no comparison to a friend coming and saying, hey, you know, do you mind if I grab a sandwich? You came over not to hang out with your friend. You came over to have a sandwich. Next thing you know, the friend is eating all the person's food, right? Where, you know, that has nothing to do with love. That has to do with taking advantage of your friend and not having to go buy your own groceries. Where when you come to Amari, he just loves you. And he tries to show you that he loves you. And all he asks back is love back. That's it. Everything else is secondary. Changing him is secondary. Feeding him is secondary. All that stuff is secondary because it's not his fault. So he is the epitome of pure love. That's what I'm trying to say. My son hasn't connected with that yet. Because he doesn't spend enough time with him to see that part of Amari. To experience that part. To So I'm really happy anyway that he's going downstairs at least once a week for social time with an uncle who he really loves. It gives Marina time to work on building up that heart of steel so she can identify the different sounds. And if something should ever happen, you know, the more people that are aware and can respond to that Houdini baby, to that emergency. You could be sitting right here, and I've done videos, clicked it off, went over there, and Amari puked. Next thing you know, we're calling 911 because it led into a freaking seizure, right? All it does is take a certain kind of sound, and Andre didn't pick it up that day, but that day I did. And that's the one, yeah, that's the one when he had the stomach flu. We just didn't know it was a stomach flu until it was too freaking late. And because he was constipated, that stomach flu with the diarrhea pushed, and his body was heaving, and because, you know, diarrhea will just sometimes over, you know, whoosh. Well, that's what he had because of the flu that came in from Andre with being with the kids, right? Or however it got into the house. It came from Andre and Alea May and them, okay? And then Amari ended up getting it. But for him, because he was having those drinks, he was plugged up, but the diarrhea pushed it out in such a violent kind of way that it brought on a seizure. It literally brought on a seizure. And once he was flushed out completely, oh my God, that was it. You know, just stomach flu. You can't give them any food, so, you know, he's skinny, and then you're worrying about him being dehydrated, and oh my God. And that's when I, you know, was giving him the gravel and stuff with the little sips of water, as you would with a stomach flu, just to flush out the stomach for that 24-hour period so it doesn't start up again, because you have to clear out the stomach completely in order to get rid of it, because it's not a flu, it's a bacteria, right? But it's passed through touch. So that's why it spreads through schools really fast, because, you know, one kid comes, next thing you know, the whole fucking school is infested with it, because it's a bacteria that gets passed around very, very quickly. And it's a bacteria that can live in the environment for a few days. So you go to your friend's house, you know, you touching this, touching that, you go home 2 days later, 3 days later, you get the stomach flu, and then you phone your friend and you find out that they had it 2 days before you went to go visit them. That's where you got it from, was in the environment. Not because they were sick, but they, like, on that day, but they were sick 2 days before you showed up, and the bacteria was in the environment. You picked it up, and somehow you got it in your mouth by who knows, and you got it. That's why not everybody gets it. Only some people get it, because it gets introduced through your hands into the mouth. And once it's in the gut, it does what it does. Yeah. So, but if I wouldn't have heard that noise and was able to distinguish that it wasn't a normal noise, Amari would have been sitting there with all the puke, with Andre thinking that he was just being his happy-go-lucky self. So, and even then, with his voice changing, and he's getting more boisterous because, you know, he's growing, right? Like, he's going to have a deep voice. I think so. Yeah, he's going to have a man's voice, a very deep man's voice, but he can go very high with the octaves. But he can also drag out a sound. Oh my God. And he just go on and on and on and on. And then you're like, holy shit, breathe, stop that. So I don't know what that dream meant. I know, I've been trying to you know what it is too, like I said, I've been trying to reassure Andre, one, that it's okay to like her, and that whatever was going on should have worked itself out to where she herself downstairs doesn't feel threatened where she's got to go off and do the things that she was doing however she wanted to justify it. Stops. And the same thing with Marcaine, because I wouldn't now say it's all her fault when he's on his own little missions now. Because he got a taste of power over Mom. And with me going blinder, he's like everybody else. He's just going to try and take advantage of that situation to benefit whatever it is he feels needs right, where the advantage is. And I guess that's human nature, I suppose. Anyway, I can't think about it. Like, I'm thinking about it, but I can't worry. All it does is make me worry. Because I feel like two women are conspiring against me as they see me as mud. Dirt. Get out of here, you got mud on your feet. Well, maybe if you wouldn't have been throwing out my grandson's toys that he built with his own hands out onto the road so people could take them, or maybe you sold them. I don't know what the fuck you did, but you're the one that put them out there. Maybe if you wouldn't have done that, I wouldn't be walking in with mud on my feet. You know, why don't you take some responsibility for what you do for a change? Because that would be great. But you can't depend on the mom to teach her daughter that, because her mom is the one that's fucking at the sewing machine taking the lead and laughing about it. So I don't think I'm out of the woods, people, and that's why I had the dream. My dream is warning me, don't get comfortable with this. Don't pretend that everything is okay, when in fact it is not. Just because you couldn't have an escape with Rhea doesn't mean that you can have an escape somewhere else, but I can't, because when I talked to my son yesterday, and I'm going to leave it on this note, he says, do you have any money? I said, what? What do you need money for? Oh, I want to put a down payment on a house. Well, I'm like, or someplace to live, right? And I'm like, well, I don't got that kind of money, right? You know what I'm saying? I got to pay down my bills. And he goes, yeah, well, the best I can do is get a 4-bedroom, but, it would be helpful if you could, chip in a bit. And I'm like, well, I can't. Or set you up in freaking subsidized housing. And I'm like, well, realistically, I can't live in subsidized housing. What makes you think I can live in subsidized housing? Oh, well, you have Andre. I say, yeah, but Andre's not capable of running a functioning house. I mean, maybe he'll grow into it, maybe he won't. But at the end of the day, the blinder I get, obviously there's going to be issues around that. And then what about Amari? It takes 2 people to watch Amari. Basically, you don't have to be there every second. I mean, he's in there right now moving around. I'm listening. Andre's sleeping. But at the end of the day, you can't leave Amari alone for any length of time. You can't. And because, he's passed some milestones now, when he is on a mission to get somewhere, he can get there within less than a minute without you even realizing it. Is at the point where Andre is stacking up pillows after pillows and making a big wall of pillows to pencil them in so that we've got 5 minutes to be able to do what we need to do without Amari shimming off the couch and going grabbing something. Yeah. And then you got to worry about him pulling pillows on himself and smothering himself yet. So this is where you got to listen, because that's a different sound, with a whole different level of distress to the sound. Because by then he's panicking, because he knows he's smothering, but he's not capable to push off the fucking pillow. That's why those bean bags have to be damn heavy, where he can't move them. Does he mean to do all that and stress you out? No. He's not going out of his way purposely to stress you out. He's not going out of his way purposely to hurt you, to make you uncomfortable, to control you. These are just the different situations that you come into contact with him as he grows and develop, milestones, skills, whatever you want to call it. It takes a lot for a child like him. We're lucky that Amari can move. There are children like Amari at that severe level, in terms of, 1 to 5, he's 5, who just lay there and can't really move or do anything. I'd choose Amari any day. He's a breath of fresh air when it comes to just the purity of the spirit. And he's determined. And he doesn't let things get in his way, even though he's got so many hurdles in front of him. And he shows genuine love. And he is a cuddle bug. He likes to cuddle. He likes body warmth. But then he also likes to sneak off now, if Nana's sleeping. So that puts a monkey wrench in shit, because, you know, right? Can't have Amari sneaking off if Nana's sleeping. Before he didn't move. Most of the time, 99.9% of the time, if I'm on the couch and Andre's out, Amari and I fall asleep, Amari's sleeping with me. It was that. Wasn't even a full percent. But now that he knows that he can do that, he's been literally, he's been waiting for us to leave, where he's in there by himself. You come back 2 minutes later, and he's like way over there on the floor, and you didn't even hear him. And he's playing with shit that he's not supposed to touch. Yeah. Or he reaches off the couch, grabs a bag of chips, starts doing this. You come back, because you went to the bathroom. You thought maybe you'd have 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 4 minutes to go to the bathroom. You come back, there's like chips all over the place. Seriously. Because he knows. He touches, oh, chips, ah, ha, ha. And he's just scattering them all over the place. Because he waited for you to leave. That's what happened. He's waiting for people to leave, so he can go be a naughty boy and get into things like a child. He's not acting any more different than a child would. And he is a child. He's just developmentally delayed with physical handicaps that are not his fault. So anyway, we'll see what happens. I'll keep you in the loop. So that's some good news for Amari. Really good news. And then now if Amari goes downstairs, I can start vacuuming. I can't vacuum with him. Oh, God, no. Yeah. So I'm going to try and get my vacuum on. He goes downstairs and I get to vacuum. So you know I'm going to be upstairs vacuuming. And hopefully I'll have energy to do it. So I'll be going from spot to spot to spot, vacuuming up everything. So that's a benefit for me. And then the benefit for Marina is she can work on developing that heart of steel, where she's not imaginating things downstairs because she doesn't understand what she's hearing upstairs. Right? And then once she learns the sounds, if for any reason, and there are no guarantees, something should happen, and let's just set off, and there was a sound, and I didn't hear it, but Marina heard it, and it wasn't a sound that made her feel comfortable because she already knows, right? You know, she'd learn, right? Then, but we don't talk, so I don't know how that would work. It's very hard to talk to her. I have to do everything by third party. Whether I'm talking through Marcaine, ask her if she can help me to work with some leather to build a full leg brace for him, because she sews. Maybe she's got some good ideas. I have everything up here. Could you see her and I doing that together? Oh my God. But it needs, you know, it would be nice if she could help and give me some ideas, right? Just kind of just experiment with it. Try a few things. Try one thing first. If it doesn't work, you know, try another thing, right? You know, until something actually works. But only in my dreams. And of course, I don't have good dreams, so I'd never have a dream with us working together around that issue. So I shouldn't say never, but I never have good dreams in this house. No. No, I don't. So, I have a miserable life, people. And no way to escape it. Sometimes I think death is the only escape. And I have to remind myself, don't wish death on yourself, because so many people around you just can't be bothered with you and would probably see it as a blessing if I died, because then they can just fucking take over whatever they want and be done with it. And then I think of Amari and I'm like, well, gee, you know, you're really the only one who really truly loves him and understands him. And once you're gone, nobody's going to cuddle with him. Nobody's going to give him his cuddle time. Nobody's going to really care at this point, I don't think. Even though they sit up there and they say they fucking care. Well, actions speak louder than words. You know, that's kind of what it boils down to sometimes, right? You know, just because I don't even want to say it. But I can't be afraid for Amari's future. Because I'm afraid he'll grow up. I won't be there. I mean, eventually I will die. And nobody will cuddle with him, sick or not. You know, they won't have patience for him. They're not going to love him like he loves them back. Right? He'll be lonely. He'll be lonely, and that makes me sad, and it frightens me. But I haven't died yet, and I tell myself, get it out of your head. It will come soon enough. Don't wish for it to happen just because other people around you want you fucking dead. Because they get something out of it. I don't know what the hell they get out of it, but whatever they get out of it, they get something.